Hey blushing brides, I am currently spending every single waking moment that I have on creating the Unveiled Bride Society, which will be launching the first week of September. It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited. Membership's going to include the Unveiled Ultimate Planner Workbook, the Be Your Own Wedding Planner e-course that walks you through the entire wedding planning process step by step, a community where you can discuss all things wedding with me and the other bride members, super valuable bonus content from me every single week, as well as exclusive vendor discounts and more. I am so excited about this. It's going to be the best. I can't wait to see you all there. So since I'm focusing on all of my energy on that this week, I'm going to post a replay of one of my essential wedding tips videos. So even if you've already seen that, I would recommend watching it again. I think that there's lots of helpful information in there. If you haven't already, be sure that you go grab your Unveiled Ultimate Planner because I'll be sending everyone who purchases their planner a free month of the Unveiled Bride Society. And then also, I know some of you have filled out the Bride Society application on my website. And actually what I'm going to do with that is have a VIB status where I'll select a few brides that I'm actually working with. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and fill out the Bride Society application on my website. I'll link that below. And then from those applications is where I will be selecting my VIB status members. I am so excited for all of this. This is going to be so much fun and I can't wait to see all you girls there. You most likely have never planned a wedding before, unless you are a wedding planner yourself. So don't just wing it. There's so many little things that can cause you a major headache or cost you a lot of money. Hey blushing brides, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kyle James. I've been planning weddings and parties since 2015. So in that time, I have definitely noticed and definitely realized that it's totally possible to plan your own wedding. I know this is not a popular opinion among wedding planners because business, but it's definitely true. With all of the information and resources available to you online, you just really don't need a wedding planner. You can kind of figure it out on your own. P.S. This channel is one of those awesome sources. So if you're not subscribed already, be sure you do so. All right, let's get started. So my first tip is to get organized and stay organized. I don't care if you say I'm not an organized person or whatever. For your wedding planning process, especially if you are planning your own wedding without a wedding planner, you are organized. I have a ton of videos on this. I'll link some below and a lot more videos coming up soon. This is the biggest factor in a smooth and low stress wedding planning process. So basically there's two things you need to organize. You need to organize your stuff and you need to organize your time. So for organize your stuff, you need to decide on one place where you're going to keep everything. So whether you are somebody who likes to have papers and have everything in front of you physically, or somebody who prefers everything online in digital versions, it doesn't really matter, but you do need to decide on one place where you're going to keep everything. So if you're one of those people who likes the physical binder or the physical notebook in front of you, be sure that you get a binder right at the beginning and you keep everything in there. You're going to keep your notes, your contracts, everything. And then if you are one of those people who likes everything digitally, I would suggest starting a Google folder that you just put everything in. Just start it right from the beginning. And just know that that is where you keep everything. And if you do get physical papers, be sure that you just snap a picture of them and store them in that folder. Just keep everything in one place. It helps so much. The other piece of being organized is organizing your time. It's so important to do this and to use your calendar or your planner or whatever you're into. Just use something and be sure that you are scheduling time with yourself to plan your wedding. I am going to link my video below that walks you through this entire process of how to organize your time and get it all done as a busy bride. So be sure that you watch that after this video if you have not seen it yet. But yeah, if you are being very conscious of how you are organizing your time, then you will have plenty of it and you will be able to get this done even if you are a super busy bride. My second practical tip for planning your wedding is to manage your budget. I know this one seems obvious, and if you've watched my other videos, I talk about it all the time, but this one is so important and couples just tend to blow this part off. And it stresses you the F out if you pretend that your budget doesn't exist. Because it definitely does exist, even if it's huge. I don't care what size it is. It's something that you need to pay attention to because your subconscious is paying attention to it and it's stressing out if you're ignoring the budget. So I have a couple videos on this. I do have a video and a free worksheet that walks you through how to figure out your budget and then how to break it down between all of the categories. So I'll be sure I link that below for you. If you have not done so already, be sure you go grab that worksheet and get your budget figured out because it's so important to track it and it's something that will just make you feel so much better and so much less stressed. My third practical tip for planning your own wedding is hire a day of coordinator. I cannot stress how important this is. If you are not hiring a wedding planner and you are planning your own wedding, you need to have somebody there on the day of to make sure that everything gets put together. You do not want to be chasing a caterer or stressing about when the flowers are supposed to get there or whatever on your wedding day. So your wedding day goes by so fast. And if you are running around like a crazy person trying to get stuff done, instead of just like getting ready and soaking in all that time, getting ready with your girls and hanging out and just like soaking in the fact that it's your wedding day, then you're gonna miss it and it's gonna go by so fast and it's not gonna be worth all of the time and money and effort that you put into this. So hire somebody to take care of your day of details. It's so worth the money. I don't care if it takes half your budget. Do it. You have to have a day of coordinator. I have a video on this as well. I'll be sure to link that below for you. If you are still on the fence as to whether you want to hire a full service planner or just a day of coordinator, it will walk you through all of that. Apparently, I have a video on like all of these things. So yeah, be sure that you scroll through that description after you watch this and just go through and watch all of these as you go along so that you can make sure that you have all the information that you need to make the right decisions, especially if you are planning your own wedding. All right, so my fourth practical tip for planning your own wedding is to research before you go. Research. There's so much information available online. There's videos, there's blog posts. Everything that you need to know is online for free. So you need to be using those resources, especially if you are planning without a planner. You most likely have never planned a wedding before, unless you are a wedding planner yourself. So don't just wing it. There's so many little things that can cause you a major headache or cost you a lot of money that if you just do a little research before you go, then you can totally have them handled and your life will be a lot easier. So before you go meet with any vendors or do anything, be sure that you just Google it and find some information or just pull up my channel because I probably have a video on it. My fifth practical tip for planning your own wedding is to read every contract thoroughly. So many couples get intimidated by contracts or they just get so excited that they're just like, yeah, whatever, just sign away. But it is so important to read your contracts thoroughly and to feel confident and know that you can go in with a pen and write in anything that you need to make it something that you can agree to. So if you are meeting with a vendor and they promise you something that is outside of their norm, be sure that that is written into the contract and that you both sign on that. I cannot tell you how many couples I've seen get like a verbal contract with a vendor and then the person who did that is no longer with the vendor come wedding time and the vendor doesn't stick to what they said they would do because it was never written anywhere. So if somebody is promising you something special, whether it's your venue or your caterer or whatever you discuss in those meetings, you need to have in your contract to make sure that they will follow through on the day of. And then anything you don't agree to in the contract, you can cross out too. You have to remember that these contracts are written with the vendor's best interests in mind because it's their contract and they most likely wrote it. So why would they not keep their best interests in mind? So just know what's in them, know what you're agreeing to, and then if there is something like kind of sketchy in there or something you don't agree to, definitely talk to them about it and ask them if they can take it out or revise as necessary. My 6th practical tip for planning your own wedding is never say yes on the spot. So this kind of goes along with number 5. Don't say yes on the spot because you need to take the time to review the contract. But also, weddings tend to be a very emotional time, and wedding vendors know that. So they know that it's pretty easy to upsell you if they have you off in La La Dream Wedding Land. It's super easy to get you to blow your budget or to upsell you on something that you don't even necessarily want. So go in and enjoy your tour, enjoy your meetings, and then take a step back and get your logical brain going again before you make any decisions. Also, a lot of vendors will give you perks or give you some money off or something for signing that day. They're not worth it, especially if you make the wrong decision. So definitely don't fall for these little gimmicks while you are planning because you're spending a lot of money. So it's definitely worth it to take the time to be sure that you're getting it right and that it's going along with your vision and it's what you actually want. Also, like I mentioned, take the little extra time to go home and read through the contract and make sure that it covers everything that you need it to and that you fully understand it and that you agree to it. Because if you're just signing away on the spot, you might be signing something that you will regret later. So be sure that you are just taking that time, take a deep breath, and be sure that you are picking the right vendors for you and not signing anything on the spot. My 7th practical tip for planning your own wedding is make decisions in a timely manner. I know this sounds like it is probably contradicting my last tip, but it is not. You need to take the time to consider your decisions with a clear mind, but you also really need to make decisions. If you are just spending way too long on something, it's going to push everything else out and it might put you in a time crunch for the rest of your vendors. If you are someone who struggles with decision making, I would just set due dates for when you need to make the decisions. So decide on your venue or buy a dress or whatever. Just set yourself a due date and make sure that you're making the decisions by your set date. And if you don't have a decision and your set date rolls around, then just do eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Or let your fiance decide. But just be sure that you are making those decisions in a timely manner so that you don't put yourself in a time crunch later and stress yourself out. My 8th practical tip for planning your own wedding is to involve your fiance. So many of us just assume that our fiance doesn't really want to be involved, or we just get super excited and we're like, it's my wedding day, I've been dreaming about this forever, we're gonna do it my way. Don't do this. The whole point of all of this is to celebrate your love and your relationship and build a stronger relationship throughout your engagement leading up to your marriage. The last thing you want to do is completely ignore your fiance and end up with a bunch of resentment and arguments and stuff built up right before you start out your new marriage. I am planning on shooting a video very soon on how to involve your partner, so be sure that you keep an eye out for that. I also discussed this in another one of my videos on the 5 things that I really wish I knew when I first got engaged. I wish I would have involved my husband a lot more in the wedding planning process and valued his opinions more and put our relationship ahead of silly little wedding details. My 9th practical tip for planning your wedding is to write out your big picture vision and your why and revisit it often. Every big project or goal needs to have a vision so that you know where your target is, you know where you're headed. This not only applies to the aesthetics and like the theme, it also applies to the experience. If you're going back and reviewing your why and getting back in that feeling of the experience you want to create and the memories that you want to create and the love you want to create on your wedding day, that will help a lot if you start to kind of get lost in the details and start stressing out over things that are just going to look good for an Instagram picture but aren't actually going to contribute to your vision for your big day. I have a really good video and a free worksheet that walks you through laying out the vision for your wedding day, including like the theme and scheme, but also your why and the experience you want to create. So I will link that below. Be sure you check that out if you haven't done so already. And my 10th practical tip for planning your own wedding is to CTFO and enjoy the journey. Have you ever had like a huge goal that you finally achieved and then you were like, okay, now what? This is what your wedding day will be like if you don't CTFO and enjoy the journey. Enjoy the ride. That is the whole point of this. Your wedding will not be worth the thousands of dollars and hours spent creating it if you aren't like laughing and loving and playing along the way. I hope you found at least one of these practical tips for planning your wedding helpful. If you did, please let me know and give this video a thumbs up, and also share it with the other brides in your life. Be sure to scroll through that description and check out all of the videos that I mentioned. I'm gonna link everything below for you. You can always let me know if you have any questions or anything that you want to see in the comments as well. I will respond to you. Also, be sure that you are subscribed so that you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. I post new videos every single Wednesday on the entire wedding planning process. So be sure that you're subscribed and your bell notification is turned on for that. And we'll see you next time. Happy planning!
You as you drive, do you know I'm looking? And I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on, I put my feet up, and we just sing along. And I can't help but feeling, just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know